What is going on, YouTube? Pass the Prop back again. Multi-sport day. We got 2 NBA games today. Full docket of MLB spots. We're ready to roll. Joined as always by my guy Stu. What's going on, man?
Nothing much. I mean, great weekend for me. Obviously, Mother's Day yesterday. Got a nice day with the family. Those are always good reminders to be appreciative for the people in your lives. So that was fun. Got to sneak out a little bit, and I hopped on VSiN, and that actually went very well, despite the terrible first game. Like, I don't know if you watched it at all, but that Pacers-Knicks game, especially as someone that has a lot of money on the Knicks series price, was just like painful. It was so painful. But that second game, it came through. It was an entertaining game, and we cashed on a bunch of role players. So definitely got a little bit of momentum today. Excited for the playoffs. Obviously, we got a couple good matchups today. So yeah, I'm ready to keep it going. I only peeked a little bit. I know you're covering MLB more, but some good shit on the MLB slate today as well. Kind of exciting on both realms.
Yeah, no, it's a full day of action, man. I'm really excited. It's going to be so much at one time though with all these games.
Yep.
Hitting that close. I think they're all. I mean, you can even go to NHL, man. They're starting at 6 as well. So should be a fun day. I was at the Brewer game yesterday. Unfortunately, didn't do shit after the first inning, but Cash My Michaelis hits allowed. So that's always fun to hit a bet when you're in person again. So it was fun there. And yeah, we'll take a look at the chat and we'll get into our recap because yet again we just continue to cook on the show, man. We'll talk about it in a sec, but let's take a look. We got Tyrone, first guy in the chat. Welcome, my guy. Happy to see you. We'll get to questions here in a second. Just going to take a look at everybody else in here again. We'll probably talk about Gafford there in a second. I'm assuming that's, yep, Gafford. A couple of questions about bets in there as well, which we will get to here in a second. If you got anything, drop them in there. We got 15 of you guys here in the first couple minutes. We appreciate you jumping on with us early and often. So if you could hit that like button, we appreciate it. And hit that subscribe if you haven't as already, so you know when we go live. Let's take a look at last slate. Stu, we'll kick it over to you to talk NBA because I do not believe I didn't watch because there was 9 MLB games going on at the time. So see how we did on these.
Siakam did not cash for us, unfortunately. He got in major foul trouble on some pretty BS fouls, in my opinion. So that was kind of rough. But I'm probably gonna have to hit rebounds again next game as well. But that was an annoying one right there for sure.
Yeah, no, and in my other one, we'll start out with both the losers. I had Crochet. I didn't think he was going out for that next inning, honestly, dude. I thought he was cooking and he was going to get pulled out, but shout out to him, man. 10 strikeouts, huge game. I think he was optimal in DK for the winning lineup. Just crazy to see him mow him down that efficiently. You can tell they're missing Quan a little bit there, but the Guardians obviously get the last laugh in the last couple games, getting those W's. So that one did take the L there, and then our 2+ money spots.
Yep, and Jokic did not cash for me in 0-2, unfortunately, on the week. Didn't come out aggressive at all. I mean, if you watch that game, it was tough. I know a lot of people are going back to Jokic again first quarter. Probably going to have to be on the benches for that one. I don't know. That was tough. He came out and did not look for his shot at all. So once again, I guess at least it was plus money, didn't hurt as bad. But this one, I'm probably done with the first quarter for the playoffs right now, to be completely honest, because I mean, MVP of the league, come out. Let's get a little bit more than 3 points in the first quarter, buddy.
Yeah, I saw Danilo. He was on like triple-double watch, right? I think he went on that real quick. And I saw his stat line at the end of the game where, you kind of expect him to come out a little bit more, but they ended up winning. So I saw it's 2-2 now. So good for Denver, finding a way to get back into it. Shout out to the absolute fucking dog, Logan Webb, man. Logan Webb over 18.5 outs. Dude was getting fucking nuked. First 2 innings of this game was at 45 pitches through 2 innings. And this dude finds a way to cash and get your money, plus money spot. For me to get that one in, there's not much more I can say because I obviously you're in my group too, Stu, so I see you. And Logan Webb was 4 units. I don't play more than usually 1.5. I had 4 total units on Logan Webb, whether it be under earned runs, whether it be outs. Dude just is a absolute dog and found a way to cash literally everything in that game. So shout out to Logan Webb. He's a fan of the show here, only at home though.
Yeah, no, I was telling you, I was stressed out that night. You know what I mean? I had a rough NBA game, and then Webb gives up too early. I was, that was full sweat alert right there. That's like one of those unders. Like yesterday, I had Brunson under rebounds, under 3.5, and he got 2 in the first minutes of the game. So the whole rest of the game, you're just like, you're tight as hell. You're sitting there like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? So it was dope that Webb, he did Logan Webb things. He stayed in there, he fought, and he ended up proven exactly what you said. One of the longer leashes in the league out there got the job done.
Yeah, and that's the thing, dude. Is you literally have to have like 4 dudes on base for this guy to get nuked like that to get him out of the game. But there's such a long leash. I love it. And shout out to my crew, man. Ended up cashing another plus 1,000 on the show. Obviously, this is coming off of you cashing Mount Castle the day before. I have to go back and check what our record is on these long shots because it's kind of getting crazy, man. I know I hit my Walker Lodolo one the week prior to that. It's been. I mean, we even remember the plus 430 on Ozuna. I think I have 3 and 1 in my last 4 long shots. With this being my longest one in a while, so plus 1,000, highest scoring game, FanDuel option daily special. Mariners made me tight a little bit at the end of the night with them putting up like a 9-piece, but Brewers highest scoring team of the night, was not expecting that, but I also wasn't expecting Gasser to just light them up. We ended up getting 11 runs on Lance Lynn. I had the Brewers stack in DK, so I felt pretty good about my night. Did pretty well there. But shout out to my crew, scored 11 that night and cashing us another plus 1,000.
Yeah, this was crazy. This was obviously very crazy, but it's good to see the long shot love keeps on going right here. I mean, it's really been good in the MLB especially. So obviously these new markets, these highest scoring game of the slate, the highest strikeout of the slate. I know you and me both love kind of finding those angles that most people are ignoring, right? Most people aren't hitting those markets. They're kind of leaving a be, and hey, that's where we can find the value sometimes. So definitely love cashing this one right here.
Yes, sir. I believe we have in MLB, it's 3-2 in our last 5 long shots because we're going back there. We have Ozuna, obviously 2 RBIs cashed, the Lodolo Walker RBI cash at plus 530 there. And then we obviously go over. I had the Phillies in one. That one did not cash at plus 1,600. You ended up cashing. You ended up cashing in on the Mountcastle home run on our last show. And then we end up getting 5 units on that last one there. Guys, we're pushing almost 20 units, and we're right there. Obviously, I don't put the number in for the long shot on the 23 and 19, but I take off half a unit if we lose one. And obviously, when you cash in a plus 1,000, it's 5 units thrown right on there. So you see that jump up real quick. Like I said, going along with that Mountcastle, going along with Ozuna doing his thing. The show is absolutely cooking the MLB right now. And long shots are a big reason why.
100% ready to keep it going today, right? I mean, that's we can make it 3 straight long shots today. So definitely ready for it. And we got a good slate as well. So I'm excited to dive in a little bit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy we got some people in here tailing those. Obviously, people getting in them live. I believe the close at like 850 or 900 was the closing line. So hopefully you guys got in here and locked those in. But Stu, we are here for today's slate. Obviously, the 20 people in here live with us want to hear what we got for tonight. You got anything you want to talk about here about the NBA slate before we talk MLB on my side?
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty good one tonight. I think all eyes are going to be on Dallas Thunder. Obviously, I think 2-1 series right there. I think a lot of people are expecting the bounce back for the Thunder. I'm seeing it that as kind of a trendy pick. But honestly, I don't bet spreads too often. But I came out on the show last time and I talked about loving the Nuggets at plus money at plus 150 on the money line, and then obviously I think it closed at 4, but it was like 5 at the time we did the show on the spread. I love that one. And I'm going to another spread today. Honestly, I like the Mavs. I like kind of zigging where people are zagging right here. I think the Thunder kind of, I don't want to say had to win that last game. Obviously, some things didn't go right down the stretch, and the Mavericks kind of caught a little bit of fire right there. But to be honest, watching Luka the way he was playing, that was the down game from Luka. That was the all game begging for fouls. Lou Dort was on his back. The physical contact. It started at the 1 minute mark because I had his first quarter props, and I mean he wasn't even focused on scoring in the first quarter. He was focused on like establishing that Lou Dort was fouling him, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of contact stuff that Luka just wasn't getting at all. And if you've been watching the NBA playoffs, it really varies based on this refereeing. A game after guys get a little bit screwed, they're not getting that contact, they've been begging all game, they get that whistle the next game. That's how it's been this whole series right there. So in addition to this being a pretty evenly matched up, game right here between two very good teams, I like the adjustments the Mavericks were making last game. And to be honest, I think Luka kind of goes nuclear here. I think a lot of last game, if you watch it, he wasn't fully locked in. Like he was scoring, but you could tell Lou Dort being on him 24/7 and fouling him a lot, by the way. There was a lot of fouls off ball that weren't even called because we'd have to stop the game every 30 seconds. So I don't think the refs let that fly again. I think the Mavericks clearly made that a point of emphasis all game last game, and they're going to be on the refs' ass again. So I think that's a little sneaky thing that if you've just been watching the NBA, the whistle's obviously so important to these games, and it's really been trending this direction that if you beg and you scream and you don't get the whistle, then you're probably going to get it next game because that's going to be kind of the news, the thing that people are focused in on the most. So I know a lot of people like the Thunder, but to be honest, I'm going to be on the Mavs tonight.
Awesome. No, I always like being on the side of Luka there, especially when best player on the court. I know SGA is up there in the MVP, but dude, I mean, talk about MVP. How is it? I think Luka's obviously a little bit more important to that side, just because the dude literally does everything there. I will kick it over into some of these chat questions. Do you want to talk about these? Now we talked about the Mavs a little bit. Tyrone talking about first half under 11.5 points. I know you talked about not wanting to do the first quarter. Are you thinking about not doing any first half?
Yeah, well, this is a good question. Honestly, it kind of ties in because the Mavs have been playing so good with Kyrie not looking to score at all. I mean, you mentioned it. Under an 8 of 9 playoff games. Like I don't know if I have any real interest in betting the under, to be completely honest, because it's very hard to get in like a player's like mindset. Like Kyrie truly, like Plus Money Bob said, hasn't been looking to score, right? A guy like Darius Garland is a lot easier to call regression on because he's shooting and missing, and he's shooting open shots that he made in the regular season and is missing now. So a guy like that, you go, oh, of course, Darius Garland's going to regress eventually. But for me, it's a lot tougher when Kyrie's not shooting 25 times a game. He's looking for other guys. He's been a very aggressive passer, good on defense, good on the boards. Like to me, I like Kyrie. He can score 28 points every game, but it's kind of curious in some of these games where his live prop number has been 15, 16 at halftime, and it's one of those things that you go, I gotta bet this, right? And he still doesn't come out aggressive, even when Luka kind of didn't have it in some of those earlier games. So I would lean towards the under if you're betting the first half. I think that's a solid angle, but it's one of those things that if Kyrie comes out, he makes that first shot and he's locked in, then you might as well turn the game off, right? I mean, like this is Kyrie Irving. Like I said, he can score 30 any given night. So I'm not going out of my way to bet Kyrie unders. Let's just say that.
Yeah, no, it's tough too when you know like you got a guy who's so ball dominant like Luka, he can go get a shot whenever he wants, So it's tough there. Taking a quick side note over to the MLB here, a lot of good games today, a lot of closer line spreads. Obviously, if you want to talk about probably best game on the slate, I think you got to go to that Braves game. Cubs are heading to Atlanta. Imanaga obviously been an absolute workhorse. I fade the Cubs on the road all the time, and I will do that again. I know Imanaga is getting a lot of hype, but, dude, I ain't messing around with a lefty against the Braves. I think there's a lot better ways to spend your money. That's a complete toss-up for me. If I had to take a side, you're going to have to go Braves for me. I also am really excited to watch George Kirby bounce back today. I have a bet on him, which we'll talk about here in a second. I'll be all over George Kirby stuff today, as well as I like this Jose Soriano guy, bro. I thought I was going to want to be a fade guy, but that Cardinals team is not good. Watching them even yesterday against my Brewers, I was not impressed, man. So I'm going to be on that one as well. So we'll be talking about those guys in a second here while we get into bets. Again, guys, 25 of you guys in here live with us. Hit that like button. And we'll get into some bets right now. Stu, I'll kick it over to you to start us off here in that game we were just talking about, that Mavericks game.
Sounds good. We're gonna go to Derek Lively over 7.5 points plus assist. It's not up on DraftKings right now. It's on MGM, 365 ESPN, those sites. So hopefully DraftKings obviously gets this going soon. Because obviously we know Lively's gonna play. We know he's an active part of this rotation. There's not really any mystery right there. And I was huge on Lively last game. I bet his 1 assist. And then I did sprinkle the ladder as well. And then I bet his points plus assists, and we cashed both of those. And I will be playing both of those again. This is not the only way I'll be playing Lively today. His assist at 1 is currently minus 160. I'd probably have that around minus 250, minus 260. So I see a lot of value in the assist by itself. I see value on 2 assists at plus 250. So to me, adding the assist into any other categories I'm looking at for Lively is like a done deal, because this is a guy he's had it in every game this series. We saw the 3 assist upside last series. He's just been so consistent, and he passes the ball a lot for a big man because they're trapping Luka, they're trapping Kyrie, they're forcing the ball out of their hands as early as possible in possessions. And what that does is it forces a guy like Lively to be a good decision maker. And luckily for us, the sportsbooks don't understand that Lively is a good passer. Like I really like Lively. I think he's going to be a legit. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he surpassed Daniel Gafford by the end of the playoffs. You know what I mean? Let alone next season. This is a building block, a cornerstone, a fantastic player that's just young and raw and still has to put some stuff together, obviously. But the passing, I think, is the most underrated facet of his game, because the sportsbooks aren't respecting it at all. And you've seen it every game. Look at those short roll passes. Look at even him operating as the roll man on some of these pick and roll sets where they're sending Chet, or actually it's Jalen Williams a lot of the time, very high up on those screens, and they're leaving him wide open, right? So for me, I just think there's so much potential with Lively in general. I think the assists are underrated, but points obviously is huge as well. And if you watch the last couple of games, you'll notice one thing. Wow, this guy can seemingly only dunk the ball. I mean, anything else around the rim has been brutal, right? So, in twofold, that's good for us. One, because the Thunder are quite literally begging him to take those super close mid-range shots. And Lively has made those shots over the course of the year. I mean, I get that the touch in the postseason has been pretty rough to watch, and seeing a guy smoke a layup is going to frustrate you. But at the end of the day, this is, a rookie. They're going to make mistakes. The fact that his team is sticking with him, right, and not benching him when he was fouled was huge, because if you watched into that last game, they went to hack a Lively. That was their strategy, which resulted in kind of boosting up his points total a little bit, getting it from around 6 to double digits, due to the fact that he went 8 for 12 from the line. So I don't think they're going to hack a Lively again. But for me, I think it was just super important to see Kyrie Irving's post-game comments. Like, we told him, like, don't run away. Like, there's that viral clip of him escaping the foul so that Kyrie could run the play. They're like, don't run away, foul, and make those shots. And then Lively said something very similar after the game. He took it as disrespect. If you were watching, additionally, that huge dunk he had on the pass from Kyrie was really a huge momentum shift for a guy, or for this whole team that was kind of struggling at times at the end of that third. And honestly, the thing I haven't even talked about yet, his defensive effect on this game has been huge. I mean, Lively's a fantastic defender. He's very flexible, more so than a guy like Gafford, who's kind of limited to that deep drop. He can't really go to the perimeter. You never would want to see that. A guy like Lively was making life a lot more difficult for Chet, and just in general in the paint as kind of a deterring presence. So he had some more limited minutes earlier in the series. He's got more of a chance. Gafford is still dealing with some hand injury stuff, which it's kind of questionable how much affected the end of that last game. Like, could Gafford even come back when they were doing Hack a Lively? That's something that we're not really privy to, how healthy Gafford is. But seeing the fact that they stuck with Lively over him in that late game situation was honestly huge to me. And it was huge in a game last night with my guy Christian Braun that we're going to go back to. So the biggest reason I brought that up is because when you see these coaches trust these young guys in the biggest moment, I think that's the biggest confidence you can give to a player. Let your actions speak louder than your words. And he was out there when it mattered the most. Obviously, he smoked some bunnies. He had some ugly. He doesn't have much of a bag on the offensive side of the ball. But when you're playing with Luka Doncic, who's giving you all those lob uppers, I mean, we can write in like 1 to 2 free lobs in this game. And if you've been watching how high Chet and the Thunder in general have been playing on those pick and roll sets, they're going for the ball handler, which leaves so much space for those lobs that obviously they're so good at. So I see a lot of potential in kind of both sides here. I think Lively's minutes will continue to stay in the low 20s. And I think he's just a fantastic player that's, got some rough spots still, but is being disrespected overall by the sports books.
Yeah, no, and you kind of hit what you needed to talk about there, and that's you need him on the court. You need him out there, right? The coach wants him out there in those big spots, and you hate it when your guy's sitting on the bench when there's 5 minutes left knowing he ain't coming back in, So it's like that's such an important thing to talk about there. Just coach's mindset there. I'm going to be heading over to MLB. I'm going to start out with a plus money spot. I saw plus money Bob in the chat. I'm going back to another plus money one. We hit Logan Webb last show. I'm going to Corbin Burns, and I'm going to Ross Stripling getting rocked today. We'll talk about Stripling because it should be pretty quick. Ross Stripling on the year on the road, 493 slugging percentage allowed, 319 batting average. My biggest issue is he has a 529 slug allowed to lefties on the road, and that's important because when you talk about a guy pitching for the Oakland A's, all those numbers are going to kind of get pushed down in terms of power allowed. So I specifically looked on the road, especially there's a couple numbers too that are going to be really skewed from his game against the Rangers, where he got extremely unlucky with a couple errors and some really bad batting average on balls in play type of things, where it was like a 40-mile-an-hour hit from the Rangers. The Rangers are not the greatest, but we did see him get a little bit unlucky in that spot. So I like looking at his numbers on the road. And when you're telling me you're going to – I like to see Kyle Tucker in that leadoff spot. My God, dude, that guy is an absolute beast. You get to split him and Jordan up. And you still got Altuve sitting in that 2-hole, who's obviously one of the best early in count guys, right? I just have an issue with Stripling and this power that he's allowed. And dude, on the road so far this year, it's not been good. So really excited to back the Astros. Might be a spot where I want to go to them as a stack today. Feel like they're very, very expensive, and that's going to be a tough one to do. But then heading over to Corbin Burns, who's not on the slate tonight, unfortunately for me as a guy playing DFS. I think Corbin Burns has an absolute field day with these boys. He's at home where he's been absolutely lights out so far this year. 28 innings. He has a 2.51 batting or ERA. You look over on his numbers here, we should see a decent amount of right-handed batters from Toronto, which we always talk about. They're just really loaded with those righties. Obviously, you got Davis Schneider, who's been very, very good so far this year. George Springer, Bichette, Vladdy, all the guys you're worried about from the right side. Danny Jansen from behind the dish. Dude, against righties, he's been absolutely lights out, and he's actually been unlucky with a 2.68 xFIP so far this year against righties, a 30% K rate, and a 3.8% walk rate. 27% K minus BB is phenomenal. I think Corbin Burns absolutely lights these dudes up. They just don't have enough lefty power here. I'm not worried about Kevin Kiermaier. Dalton Varsho, yes, he could run into one. But I'm not worried about the lefty power here. What I'm worried about is those good right-handed bats at the top of this lineup that give a lot of guys fits. Toronto also one of the worst hitting teams on the road. They are fourth worst in road games in terms of batting average, 217 batting average. That is absolutely dreadful. So sign me up for Corbin Burns. We got the nice spot here where it's harder to hit home runs in Baltimore as a righty. If you're trying to pull the ball, they obviously added the extra feet there. I think Corbin Burns just absolutely lights these dudes up. And it was minus 160 for under 2.5 earned runs, too juicy for your boy, so we had to throw that in. And I think the Astros get it done. So I actually really like the spot. Can't believe it's plus money. Stripling was like minus 400. I thought that should be like minus 700. So I really, really like this spot. Will probably be one of my biggest plays of the day.
Yeah, no, I mean, Burns, even 2.5 as an option is becoming more and more rare, even dating back to last year. A lot of the times you're kind of caught with that 1.5 plus money. And you know how important every single run is, especially to obviously earned runs. You get the benefit of an error or something like that you would not get in the first 5 and stuff as well. So definitely like this. Burns, obviously one of the most dominant guys in the league. Love getting it at that 2.5 number anytime. And yes, Stripling, he sucks. I mean, that's the biggest way to say it. Aaron Getty, or whatever his name is, Aaron Getty, he's kind of bad too, but his home road splits at least are huge, right? 3.7 ERA at home and like 11 on the road. And we faded him on the road last time. So definitely like in that Houston offense at home, I would never take the Athletics against them. So definitely like the look of plus money right here.
Yeah, well, plus money on that spot. Aaron Getty's not good, but I talk about the Cubs all the time. The bigger split is the Astros, bro. They're number 2. They're number 2 in OPS at home. They have been god awful on the road, and now I get this. Woo! I love it, dude. I love it. I also almost looked at like that first 7 spot as well. I think that's a good look too for the Astros. If I get batting average and balls in play like screwed, where they're just hitting line drives at people, that's baseball, man. Tip your cap and you're screwed. But how do you go against this Astros team in this spot? It makes it really tough in DFS because you got 3 or 4 dudes over 5,700 and you can't play them all unless you're going real cheap at pitching. So it makes it more fun because I know a lot of people will want to play them, but they're not gonna be able to pay up for them and pay for like Imanaga and all these high end pitchers that are on the slate, which makes obviously the DFS strategy portion of it a little bit more fun.
Yeah, you'll have to throw in the flex god to make those lines.
I did try to roll with your Nationals yesterday, and they just find a way to fucking suck. God damn, that defense is horrendous. That defense is so bad. Every time I bet on them, they make at least 2 errors, and they're big errors, bro.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you saw, like Robles, he missed like it was the easiest catch in the world.
I was at the Brewer game. I just saw that. Oh, Mackenzie Gore, you were rolling, bro.
Yeah.
And then just all of a sudden, all these dudes on base. I'm like, shit.
It's really good that you missed it. You would spaz if you saw it. I'm glad you didn't see it then. That's good news. He missed it would be like the equivalent of missing a wide open dunk in transition. It was in his glove. He just didn't squeeze his glove and it popped out. Like it was embarrassingly bad. And then he was also thrown out at third. So brutal game. The Nats still play like a young, dumb team, make a shit ton of errors, obviously. But in all seriousness, if I do play a DFS lineup tonight, I would play Flexen.
Would you play Flexen or Trevor Williams?
Well, are their prices that similar? Is Trevor still that cheap?
Well, no, Trevor Williams is like low 7s.
Yeah, well, Trevor's probably going to keep being okay. Keep being like, I'm not going to fade him at this point. But Flexen, I don't think Washington has the skills necessary to crush him the way other teams do. I don't see the power blowing them up. Like, who's going to hit the homer? Meneses? Like, Abrams, hopefully he's back in the 1 hole. Davies obsessed with batting him 2, where he's hitting 230. So I don't know. I know Flexen sucks, but he had some okay pop-off games, and Washington can get 2 or 3 off of him, but that's worth it for the savings you get. Washington doesn't really blow teams up. They also have the most comeback wins in the MLB this year, which means they're normally getting guys in the bullpen. So I don't hate Flexen in all seriousness.
Yeah, the shitty part is I'm pretty sure it's supposed to pour here in a couple hours, so I'm worried that it's going to hit Chicago right when I'm in that game time mode. So that's what I'm worried about. As a guy just has to look at those. You can't lose a pitcher on a slate and feel good about your chances. Even though I would like to play one of those too, so I can just full sack Astros and just be like, all right, I'm going down with the Astros ship on the fade stripling spot. So enough about the MLB for this spot. We'll go over to you, Stu. Talk about another spot for NBA. A spot I did see you were on a couple days ago. Dude, I saw that. Fuck this dude, bro. How many chances are you going to give this motherfucker to just sit there and brick threes, dude? If you give me that many opportunities, I'm hitting 2 of those shots, bro. Fucking bump.
Yeah. Well, you kind of got into you covered the whole thing right here. We're going back to Al Horford over 1.5 threes right here. The thing is, he missed this for us last game. In my analysis last game, it was pretty simple. In game 2 of this series, more 3-point shots were contested against the Celtics than in any game of Joe Mazzulla's tenure. 77% of threes were deemed contested or heavily contested, which is by far the highest mark against the Celtics all year, which shows that it wasn't just talk. The goal was actually limit 3-point spot up attempts. Derek White, for example. Yet, in that game, that being true, it being the biggest outlier in the Celtics' tenure, Al Horford had 6 wide open threes. He pretty much had all of the wide open threes on the team. And then that continued last game. He bricked him 5 wide open threes last game. He's averaging 5.3 open threes per game. I get that it's ugly. I get it's very ugly, right? And that Horford hasn't been good, right? He's shooting only, I believe, 25% on wide open threes. But during the regular season, he shot 45% on them. This is a guy that has more playoff experience than anyone else on the court. If you watch the post-game interviews, there's not a single scent of doubt surrounding Al Horford. And if you watch him, he doesn't care that he's missing the first one or two. Like, maybe that's something young Al Horford does, but he knows what his role is on this team, and it's so secure. And he saw 39 minutes last game because if you haven't noticed, he's now matching Mobley even closer because essentially that's what the Cavs have to do. Like, Mobley has to roam in the paint. He has to be their center, not their power forward, which means the guys that are going to be out there on the perimeter most of the time in switches are going to either be guards just running out and putting a hand up, like a Max Strus, a Donovan Mitchell, or it's going to be completely wide open shots. So once again, I know it's ugly. You literally covered it in the introduction. Like, how many chances are you going to give the guy? If an NBA player that shot 45%, from open threes during the regular season is averaging 5.3 per game in this series, then I have to keep going back to it, especially when there's no reason that's going to change because it hasn't really been working that well, right? It got it earlier in the series, but then last game he was obviously missing again. They still did get the win. They need to space the floor. Cornette is not an option at all. I believe he's dealing with some injury stuff, but he was getting cooked last game on those switches. Game one was a little bit of an outlier. He had a solid game there, but I don't see anyone stealing his minutes. I think he's going to be 35 plus in this game. And once again, I mean, he's getting the open shots. He's just got to knock them down. So I get if you don't like it. I get if it's a little bit ugly right there. But I just got to keep trusting, even beyond trusting the numbers. It's kind of almost common sense to me at this point. It would be putting my emotions above, process to go away from a guy like Horford right here, even though I know it's ugly, So we're rolling back with Al Horford. He's got the playoff experience. He's going to brush that off and come drop some bombs for us tonight.
Yeah, no, I know you got to think with your brain on these, but dude's a fucking bomb. He's dust. So I also don't like Al Horford because I just buck stuff and all that. So I just I'm fine. Hopefully he hits his 2, but he's like 2 for 26 and he gets cut. This dude's fucking shit. He's awful, dude. I literally had that bet and I'm like watching it. I'm like, bro, how are you this bad? Like, that's like literally your job, bro. It's literally your job. You're not dribbling to the hoop and doing anything. Like, just hit it. Like, make it. No one's within 5 feet. So definitely makes sense on the breakdown portion of it. But with me not like actively betting NBA, I will be with my heart on those and want to not be there because I can't. I was so mad at the last game. Can't imagine how mad you were on those.
It's not fun. It's not fun, but you gotta. Luckily, I had a great day yesterday. It really helps the roller coaster, right? When guys, and especially when you bet role players like I do, Derek Jones Jr., another guy had in those last games. Like, you get fucked sometimes. That's what it is. But if we're gonna, keep trusting the process, you win more than you lose. And I'm excited for Big Al to get some redemption for us tonight. Turn those haters into fans. Get it done early too. I don't know if you noticed, he gets like a wide open 3 within the first 3 minutes of the game every game. Like, he's always. I believe he took the first 3 of the game in each of the last 2 games. So, I mean, they're daring him to shoot. If you knock down that first one, we may see an Al Horford, legacy game right here. Maybe he's knocking down 5 threes, pulling a Brooke Lopez out of his hat right there.
Maybe. No. Yeah. I'm gonna go to MLB again. I ain't talking about that anymore. All right, I'm going to go to 2 guys that I have been betting quite a bit. George Kirby, I think he's going to have a pop-off game today. Obviously, his last start wasn't great. Got hit around by Minnesota. But also, he's back home. I think that's important to talk about. He hit this against Arizona at home. Hit this against Cincinnati at home. The only one he missed it against at home was against Cleveland, who's obviously been very, very good this year. He also hit it against Boston at home. So, obviously, you get a little bit more, distance that you have to hit the ball in Seattle. It's a big field. I really like his numbers at home. Even when you look at him against lefties, the dude has a 27% K-BB. just looking at that number in this spot, you're going to have a lot of these lefties in there, a lot of switchies probably in there as well. The only guy I'm really worried about is Bobby Witt because he has given up a decent amount of power to right-handed bats. But also, the batting average on balls in play is through the roof. 300, a 300 at home, 339 to lefties so far this year. His xFIP is 2.8 against lefties. So we expect to see numbers, going down a little bit here. And I expect Kirby to start shoving here shortly, especially when you look at his history of last year. And obviously his numbers are very, very good. I'm looking at Soriano as another piece to this. I've been betting him quite a bit. You can't bet anything but strikeouts, man. This dude walks so many guys. He struggles. But I think this is a good spot. I think this is a great spot. Cardinals coming off of a nice win to finish because they've lost 8 straight to the Brewers, right? Then you get done with that game, a tough-fought game, 4-3, they win. You got to fly out to L.A. and play that next day. That's a tough travel spot. And I think that early on in this game, I think they're going to be sluggish. I do not like this lineup at all. They didn't play Arenado yesterday. I think this is a tough matchup for him. Goldschmidt finally got his first hit, but he was doing that off of Bryce Wilson, not off of a guy throwing 100 and having wipeout stuff. He does have issues walking guys. I get that, but a 42% whiff rate on his knuckle curve, which is his number 2 pitch. His sinker is coming in at 98. I think we need to see a little bit more of that four-seamer as well, seeing as he throws a 99, and he has a splitter that he's been throwing lately, 32%. K rate, 47% on his slider that he's using exclusively to right-handed batters. I think this is going to be a tough spot for all the righties in the lineup. And then when you look at lefties, he's been really featuring that curveball against them, and that's obviously one that you see with 42% whiff rate on. So I think the stuff plays. I think this is going to be a good spot for him. I just don't see the Cardinals handling the velo very well, especially when the bottom of this order is going to have like a Ciani. Who the fuck are you, dude? You suck, right? I mean, you're going to have Brendan Donovan at the top. Yeah, I get it. A little speed, but I don't think it matters, dude. I really don't. Logan O'Hoppy's actually been really good against stolen base guys as well. So you get a little bit more comfort there and giving him a little bit more time to home, especially when O'Hoppy's been as good as he has been defensively. Soriano, baby. If you haven't watched him, today's the day to turn it on, 8:38 Central Time. You're going to watch this dude just throw absolute gas. That's all he's in there to do, right? 3 of his pitches are 98 plus, bro. Like, what do you want? If you want to see real hard-nosed baseball, sign me up for Mr. Soriano here, Jose Soriano. Light this radar gun up, and let's do it against the Cardinals tonight.
Yeah, and I was looking at it too, and it's funny. Obviously, with the Cardinals, walks can be an issue for sure. But in the 4 games this year where he has 3 or more walks, he's over this number in every single one of them. He has 5+ K. So in those games where he's not finding the strike zone, the stuff wasn't the problem. He was still painting, right? The only one was the blow up against Minnesota where he made it, I believe, 1 2/3 or something like that. But definitely like this look. Obviously, I'm curious to watch the stuff as well. Like you said, you're hyping the guy up. I want to see the knuckle curve go crazy. And then obviously, Kirby's one of the most consistent guys out there. Definitely love going to this look right here. Definitely love the combo.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be a fun one today, especially with the other one being the exact same price at plus money. Hey, we just got to win one, right? Just got to win one. Hopefully, we can get those wins in the column here tonight. Stu, let's do a recap here. We're already at 40 minutes. We'll keep it rolling here for 25 of you guys that are still here with us. Let's get it rolling.
Sounds good. We got Al Horford over 1.5 threes, -118 in the early game. Then we got Derek Lively over 7.5 points plus assist, -115 in the late game.
Beautiful. And I'll be heading over to Corbin Burns under 2.5 earned with Ross Stripling, no win, +111. And then going over to George Kirby over 17.5 outs with Soriano, 4 strikeouts, -111 there today. Stu, do you have a long shot for today? Just obviously looking through the slate. You got 2 games to pick from.
Yeah, I mean, I got a couple different spots. I like Lively to have 2 assists at +260 and then 3 assists at +950. So I don't know if 260 is a little low, but I kind of, laddered it with the quarter unit on each of those if we want to do that I played it last game. I still think it's underpriced, whiffed a couple potential assists. I like Lively a lot. I'm going to be playing him in a lot of ways. Like I said, I played his double at 26-1 last game. It's now 10-1. So the sports books aren't the only one, or I'm not the only one that likes Lively. The sports books have kind of caught up a little bit. I think once again in everywhere but the assist department. So we went 2 assists right here, plus 260, 3 assists, 950 on 365 right now. Hopefully DraftKings gets this stuff up a little bit sooner. You got to go to the 365s, the ESPN, that's the MGMs of the world right now. But I want to get it out soon because even if nobody else plays this, like, I think it should move. Maybe the public won't move this one, but I think it should. So definitely like getting after Lively today in a bunch of ways. But I think assist is my favorite. And if you want to correlate it, another long shot I like Derek Jones Jr. to hit 2 threes. You can get that in like the plus 180-ish range, plus 200. I think combining these two is some ugly but nice correlation because, like I said, the short roll kickouts, the offensive rebound kickouts, that's where Lively is going to get his assist. And Derek Jones played 35, probably going to do that again, and going to take a couple threes. So if you really want to get the ugliest possible correlation in this game, Lively 2 assists, Derek Jones Jr. 2 threes. We'll call that the Stu special for today's slate.
Oh, awesome. I'm looking, dude. Some of these just don't make sense. Like I'm looking at my special, my most strikeouts on these, dude. I'm gonna probably have to look at it a little bit more, just because there are a couple guys that I do want to target. Because why are we seeing Brady Singer at plus 500? He's the top guy. Like, I'm going to be betting somebody in here. I might post it on there. I understand he's facing the Mariners, and they fucking suck, and they strike out a lot. But Brady Singer ain't trying to strike you out. Like, that's not what his game is. So that's why I'm like 5-1. Yes, people, keep betting him. I will continue to get these numbers down. Corbin Burns. I love Corbin Burns today. But do I think he's going to strike out all these dudes when Toronto only has 24% strikeout rate to righties? Like, I'm thinking today is going to be a fun long shot spot for me. And I think I'm going to be going down the board a little bit to where I want to go. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more research on some of the other numbers. So I'll probably post it later. But I will be in that market today because I think the top two are kind of sus for me in this spot. So I think we can get a good number on some of these other ones.
Yeah, I always like that when you don't see the top of the board value. That really opens up a lot of fun stuff. Obviously, Shota, I saw some people talking about him at 9-1, I believe, maybe 10-1. I know it's the Braves. I know it's ugly, but I might have to sprinkle that, man. Just prime time, Cy Young candidate, not even Rookie of the Year candidate. On a national stage against the Braves, like. A lot of people are going to be watching. I feel like that'll be a fun one. I don't know. I'm excited for it, but we'll see what happens.
All right, fuck it. I'm gonna just do it. I'm gonna go in on one. I'm gonna play because this number is just way too high for me. I'm gonna go over to Cutter Crawford at 17-1. He's gonna be my guy. I don't care that he's all the way down the board like this, dude. I think this is way too low. I think this race team is absolute hot garbage. I think they fucking suck. I've bet on the dude. He just got shoved on by Chris Flexen, bro. Like, absolutely shoved on. So I am perfectly content going to Cutter Crawford. I think his stuff is good enough to get Ks here. Rays right now on the season with a 26.5% K rate to righties. Also, you get a better hitting spot going to Boston. But Cutter Crawford's been very, very good in Fenway Park. I want to play Cutter Crawford today. When I look at all these guys ahead of him, right? Like George Kirby, I think he has an absolute great spot as well tonight. But how many lefties going to be in this lineup? Cutter Crawford's been absolutely wipeout to lefties, 29 Ks in 25 innings. I think we're going to see enough lefties in this lineup where we're going to see Cutter Crawford go a little bit crazy on him, and I'm ready for it. So 17-1, most strikeouts on the day. Again, dude, am I going to trust Brady Singer? Am I going to trust Corbin Burns over him? Like, tougher spots, right? I only need him to be good for one day, man. And Mitch Keller's got a tough spot. Brewers have been smoking at home. outside of yesterday, obviously, because I was there, but whatever. I think 17-1 is very, very well warranted. And sign me up. I'm in for Cutter Crawford today.
Yeah, there could be some interesting ones. I'm telling you on Crawford. I might throw in maybe a Christian Sanchez. I don't know. Get crazy over here just because there's so many guys that I wouldn't bet on the slate for K leader today as I'm going through all these games, which just makes me think like we talked about this with John Legeza. It's not always like about obviously the best K guy. You're trying to get some of these outliers, right? And I mean, on a day where if we don't like the top of the slate, if we can find good reasons why we don't like those top three guys, then I definitely like getting a little crazy, So I'm tailing you on Cutter, and I'll probably be taking a look at the rest of the market as well because that's a fun one today for sure.
It's fun when it's not like a Strider on the slate, right? Where it's just like you can't get shit for value. Yeah, and I mean, I would love to just take everybody against Seattle, but Brady Singer's not. 5-1 is ridiculous. So, Stu, you got anything else for the people? We got our long shots out. We got everything ready to roll. What do you got for them?
Yeah, I'll have more out on Twitter today. There's still definitely a couple good NBA spots out there that I haven't talked about. Like I said, I'll even post more about Lively over on Twitter as well. So if you want all my plays, make sure you're following over there. If you haven't already, leave a like on this video. Helps us out a ton. Free player props Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You don't get that in too many places, let alone almost 20 units in the MLB already. So if you like this kind of stuff, if you want to continue, we do too. So, show some support, retweet, like, all that kind of stuff. Definitely very, very helpful. And yeah, I think we got some very good plays today. I'm excited for me get a little bounce back going and for you to keep that, long shot momentum going right here.
Yes, sir. Like I said, 3-2 in our last 5, which, we're hitting 400 plus. We ain't playing no plus 190s or something like that. We're going out there for these. Also, got to give my quick shout to some playoff hockey, bro. I'm not a huge hockey guy, but holy shit, that shit's intense, man. I freaking love that. I showed a picture of the new sports book down by me. It opened up like 15 minutes from my house. My God, man. That shit's intense, dude. They put it up on like 7 different, like the big 7 screens they put together onto one, dude. It was pretty electric. So been watching a little bit more. Obviously, I'm not capping it or anything. I just enjoy watching it without really needing to have any money on it, which is something that you don't see much anymore, for me at least, when you do it, when you're breaking down all these games and like wanting to know everything. It is just a fun sport to watch, to not even need money on it, right? And it's just like, wow, dude, these dudes are flying around just smoking each other. There was even a fight in one of the games I watched in the Boston Bruins game, which was just like, holy shit, dude. I don't like you. Let's fight, bro. Let's go. And I'm like, damn. I would love someone to just, throw a nice haymaker on Al Horford or Tatum. That would be just awesome to watch. Just watch them just get knocked the fuck out,
Yeah, I've watched 0 seconds of playoff hockey probably in like the last couple of years, honestly. I truly don't care about hockey at all in any capacity, but seeing those clips of them letting guys fight mid-game and then seeing an NBA where someone stares you down for 3 seconds and they call a tech, it makes me want to kill myself. Like, it's insane that we have a major sport where we let these guys do what the fans want to see them do. Even any person I talk to, like me, that doesn't care about hockey, they go, well, they fight, it's fun to watch, That's a legitimate ad. I'm not saying we let guys fight in the NBA, but can we let this be an example to every other sport that we don't have to be total pussies 24/7? In NFL, NBA, the fans want this. They want arguing. They want emotion. You don't have to let them punch each other like the NHL, but at least give us something here, man. That's my biggest thing with hockey. It makes me so jealous seeing those dudes just fight out there. It's like, come on, let's let the rest of us do this kind of thing,
Well, dude, it's just crazy. They're going like 15, 20 miles an hour right into each other, smash them into it. I'm just like, damn, dude. It's I've watched a couple in person, not NHL, but like lower level ones, and even then, it's like very, very high athleticism stuff to do. But just had to get that out there. Because obviously we don't bet it, but it was cool to watch. So thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you. Hopefully you guys have been catching in on these plays with us. We'll see you Wednesday. As always, pay attention on Twitter. We might be talking about moving that up as always, just because we kind of have that, we got those plays a little bit earlier in the day at like noon or earlier than that. So hopefully you guys are following over on Twitter, got the notification bell on, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday. whether it's early or at noon, we'll be ready for you guys with some props. So thank you guys. Have a good one, and we'll see you Wednesday.